Hi, this is Dex. So I noticed a lot more of my friends are now playing Valorant since it full released. Before rank mode is released, I just wanted to give a few friendly tips for my friends and to your other friends, I guess. These are tips that I use to help me reach Immortal 3 during the closed beta of Valorant. So for those that don't know me, just a quick background. I was a former PUBG pro player that played in Southeast Asia and North America. So far in Valorant, I've played with most of the best players in the game. I've also received a few invites to join a pro team. So in this video today, I just want to talk about maximizing your time in the shooting range and practice area. So this is more so my warm-up routine. This is something I do daily before I start playing. So let's start with one taps. So this is something that I do in hard difficulty. I also turn on the bot armor for this one. So for this exercise, I try to aim for at least 20 out of 30. You don't have to aim for 20 like me. You can find a number that works for you, or at least your average, and you can start from there. Personally, my average was around 15 when I started, and I just worked my way up to around 20 on average. You can also do this in medium difficulty if you find hard too difficult. So the main point in this exercise is training your muscle memory. You always want to aim for the head. It's going to be difficult at the start, but your game will greatly improve as you get used to aiming for the head. If you're comfortable enough, you can also combine this with counter strafing, as shown in the video. Make sure your mouse movement is controlled and smooth. Don't flick all over the screen, since that will not really help your muscle memory. Okay, so on to the next one. So this is very similar, except I'm going to do burst fire. So when you're hitting your average with one taps consistently, you can then move on to this exercise. So what I do is I try to shoot 2 to 3 bullets under the same settings. So in hard difficulty, you don't really have time for 3 shots, so you only have time for 2 shots. Again, for this one, I try to aim for 20 out of 30 bots. Okay, counter strafing with one taps. So in this exercise, I like to aim for 3 specific targets. Usually I aim for the leftmost bot, the middle bot, and the rightmost bot. You can see the image on the video. I've circled the 3 targets I was aiming for. So you want to do this as fast as you can while counter strafing. Okay, spray transfer. Personally, I think there's 2 ways to train this. So the first way is to pick 2 targets. Personally, I would pick the leftmost bot and the rightmost bot, and I would try to transfer my spray from there. The second option is to aim for the bot that spawns right after you kill one. That way, this will add some degree of randomness, and that way you can't really predetermine where you're gonna flick to. You also want to disable infinite ammo for this, and make sure that you enable bot armor for this. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to go into settings, change the settings to 50 bots, enable strafe, enable bot armor, and enable infinite ammo. Next, you just want to stand to the leftmost side of the range, just below the platform. The reason I do this is because if you stand in the middle, this will actually cause you to flick 180 degrees. So this isn't accurate because there's only very little times where you have to flick 180 degrees in-game. If you're finding yourself having to flick 180 degrees quite often in-game, then you're doing something wrong with your positioning. So by standing at the leftmost side of the range, you're actually imitating in-game situations where most of your enemies will be within 90 degrees of your field of view. So what I want to do here is you want to, of course, aim for the head, and you want to try to complete the 50 bots within 49 seconds. Again, you wanna find a number that works for you. You don't necessarily have to do it within 49 seconds. That's my personal goal. You can find something else that works for you. So for this exercise, I like to do it for both the Vandal and the Phantom. You can also counter strafe between targets just to make it a bit more difficult for you. Okay, on to the next one. So this is something I like calling quick peaks. So using the same settings from the previous exercise we did, you just want to click the practice button instead of the start button. So what this does is that it spawns a lot of bots on the middle of the range. And then what I do is I stand at the back of the range as seen in the video. And you just want to do a quick peek and then shoot a burst of 2 to 3 bullets and then get back in the cover. So this is actually an advanced skill, so this may be hard for you at the beginning. So don't expect to hit your targets all the time. When you're also peeking, you want to make sure that you're isolating your target to a 1v1 and that you're not open to other bots as much as possible. So if you're able to master the skill, this will actually help you greatly, especially in high level play. Make sure you practice both sides of the wall. So the last thing I like to do in the range is to do the spike diffuse scenario. So what I do is I set the difficulty to hard. I buy either a Vandal or a Phantom, and I make sure that I do not buy armor. This will make things more challenging. So this will help you improve your crosshair placement, your reaction time, as well as it will help you clear angles properly. Okay, so just to quickly summarize, this is something I do daily. I usually spend around 30 to 60 minutes warming up in the shooting range. So for you, I don't expect you guys to do the same thing, but I would recommend spending at least 20 minutes before you start playing just to warm up and get comfortable with your mouse. So what you want to do is you want to set personal goals for yourself. You want to find your current average and aim to improve on that. Lastly, I would recommend playing Spike Rush. So this is a newly added game mode in Valorant. It's first to 4 wins. You're given a random weapon every round. In my opinion, the weapons they give you are actually weapons that you would use, so they're not useless junk. The good thing about Spike Rush is that you're matched against actual players, not just bots. So the reason why this is so good is because you're dealing with actual players. Their movements could be random, as compared to bots where their movements could be predictable or very weird, which players do not actually do. Since you're playing with actual players, skill levels will vary a lot. Some will be a lot better than you, while others will be a lot worse than you. Nonetheless, I would still recommend this as a warm-up, since this will help you prepare for in-game situations and actual player movement.